This video is going to show you a solo master Nightfall getting platinum rank on the master difficulty, which is 1580 in power. For those who just want to see this, then skip the timestamps you have on the video. Other than that, I can show you the modifiers and my setup that I used. So the modifiers have changed a little bit since we screen, so I will cover it. So we've got Pestilence. When sounds are defeated, they spawn Void Grenades. Champions are barrier and unstoppable. Attrition is on, so health regeneration is impaired. Equipment locked, match game, champions mob. The shielded foes state that it's solar and void, which isn't 100% true. There is arc, but you do want to just focus solar and void for the most part. Poleharm. You deal more damage with melee weapon attacks, but take more damage from foes that are far away. So if you use scout rifles and bows, you're going to take more damage. I haven't 100% test this modifier, but you still want to play from distance when you're underpowered, despite what this modifier states, in my eyes. But there may be room for glaive builds and etc. We get double Vanguard rank, all Vanguard rank points and are doubled. It's insane this when you do a Nightfall for the Vanguard points. And then this is different, so Acute Solar Burn. You get a 25% damage bonus to solar, all solar sources in your loadout. Subclass, weapons, whatever, you name it, you can think of it. But the enemy does 50% solar damage to you, right? So you need to obviously combat that in your setup. But that's just covering the modifiers. So the setup was as follows. We're on Voidwalker. The super is Nova Bomb Cataclysm. Heal and Rift, and we're using Vortex Grenade. Aspects are as follows, and this is probably the best setup. Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void. Avoid Child of the Old Gods. It is more novelty than what it really is. Seriously, with me playing Voidwalker for years and years, I can tell you, these two aspects outclass the Child of the Old Gods. Just depends on what you're running with that, but this is just what I'm using on this setup. The fragments are Echo of Undermining, Echo of Remnants, Echo of Expulsion. So the Expulsion will give you that void detonation damage. Remnants will make your grenade last longer. And Undermining will weaken the targets. This is so important. You run this all the time, always. We're pairing that with the exotic Gauntlets Contraverse hold, so we get plenty of Vortex Grenades. I don't need to sort of say too much about this. It's an amazing, obviously, exotic. Weapon-wise, we're using a Fatebringer, Kinetic Hand Cannon, Lemon Arc, the exotic Void Bow, with Catalyst. Not to say that you need the Catalyst, but it will kind of help you out because the Catalyst gives you Unrelenting. But it's not a must. You can do it without if you haven't got the Catalyst yet. And then we're using a solar rocket launcher to take a bonus of the solar damage. Any solar rocket you want to use. I'm just trying out clusters. Could have done better. Could have used something else. Lasting Impression would have worked out decent as well. You name it, you can use it. Just run a solar rocket that you like. And then armor mods, this is what we're using. We're using elemental armaments, elemental ordnance. On the chest plate we have volatile flow, I believe it's called, when you pick up a void elemental well. Font of Might. So we're using, and Font of Wisdom. So we're using an elemental well build. We're going all in for the elemental wells, because we're going to get wells from our grenade and our Lemon because it's void matches void. We're going to get increased intellect with Font of Wisdom. We're going to get increased damage with Font of Might. It's all elemental well setup. Rocket launcher scavenger, obviously, because we're running a rocket. You want to put that on. And then this is what I'm running here. I'm running a solar damage mod that's seasonal, but it does solar and arc. That's what's really good about it. And a rocket launcher reserves, just because we're only in a master, so it's fine to do that. If it was GM, I would run concussive. Harmonic Siphon enables you to get the taken charge. So it's the masterwork orbs from last season. Now it's on your helmet. Rapid weapon farm bows that match your subclass. You generate an orb. You will with Le Monarch. Right? So that's why I'm also running that. Unstoppable hand cannon. Anti-barrier bow. But that was the setup I was using. So as soon as we launch into the Nightfall, you want to immediately charge your grenade and try and spawn kill as many ads as possible. Because all the ads will actually jump out of a door and land nicely if you get your nade well placed. I took a couple of the ads out, but not all of them, but that's fine. The bulk of them are taken out. Our first goal is to clear out any remaining scions, any remaining ads, and bait the Unstoppable. Bait the Unstoppable away from the barrier, because the barrier is the threat, not the Unstoppable, of course. We'll always try and get Oppressive Dark. I'm just going to call it Oppressive Darkness or Echo of Undermining, whatever you want me to call it. I like calling it Oppressive Darkness, the weakening debuff. So for the remainder of the video, that's just what I'm going to call it. Anytime we're doing damage to a champ, we want to try and get Oppressive Darkness on that target to get the debuff going. And obviously we have that in abundance with this setup because we have limited Void Grenades, right? So we want to take advantage of that as much as possible. Now if you're low in light, like 1560s, early 1560s, which might be most common for most, there'll be probably 1560s with a plus 10 artifact and then 1550 gear, more than likely. You can still do this 20 power under, right? It's going to be pretty tough. It depends on how good you are. If you've soloed a GM, you could definitely do this if you're 1560, because it'd be, you know, it'd be a little bit easier than what a GM is, or maybe similar difficulty. But the higher power you are, the easier this is going to be. Now I was 1570, right? So I'm 10 under, which in all honesty isn't a huge thing. If I was 9 under 1571, because the activity is 1580, the sword icon of the adds would be removed, and then the adds would be classed as within my power. The magic number that you want to get to before till you feel like really comfortable in master content, whether it be master wellspring or whatever it might be, is 1571. That is the magic number. When you get to that number, masters just become substantially easier because you get a lot of more resistance when you go to that, and you do a bit more damage. Now I'm not saying you're going to do a huge amount of damage difference between 1570 and 1571, but getting the sword icon off the adds is a big thing. So that's what you want to grind to. That's your next goal, 1571. Because obviously you want to start farming all the master stuff as soon as you can. You can see that we're taking advantage of Devour a lot, volatile rounds, which is going to work with any, you know, sort of void weapon. Really good with Lemon Arc. The Catalyst is really good as well because it gives you unrelenting, so there's a good chance you're going to get health regen. Now obviously attrition's on, so we're lacking in health at times, so Lemon Arc can come in handy that way. With Devour, we can't proc it like we used to, where you do your nade behind cover and eat your grenade. It doesn't work like that now. You've got to get a kill with avoidability, then you start that chain of Devour. So the more aggressive you play, especially if you know, sort of my power or close to, the more aggressive you play with the Devour chain, the better it can be. You can see health regen working out really well. Just clearing out the remaining adds. Obviously we're just really focusing on our grenade. You need to take out that fresher like I did initially. You don't leave a fresher up. You basically one shot a fresher with a rocket, or just about. What we're doing here is we are taking this in stages. So I'm showing you, obviously I could have done this a little bit quicker and maybe spawn the orb closer and things. But I'm just showing you, if you don't pick up the orb, if you pick up the orb and then drop it immediately and come to this area, you will get the first barrier to spawn in, but not the second and not the fresher. So it depends on how far you take the orb. If you take the orb past this station, if you like, or this level to the next level, so if you take it behind this area right here, you get the fresher to spawn in. When you see that fresher spawning, drop the orb. Forget about that orb, you'll do it later. If you're in a team, that's fine. Have somebody hold that orb, because it is on a timer and it will reset. But you don't need to be juggling an orb, okay? So that's fine. What I'm going to do then is take out the snipers that spawn in, and I'm going to de-aggro the champ. If you saw that, it was subtle. I Lemonarched the boss from a range. The boss will then get confused, go into cover. That gives me time to push. The dogs will also push, which we save a grenade for. And then we can then sort of push the champ pretty aggressive, because we can use the cover that's to his left. We'll spawn in another charge another grenade on him. As you can see, Lemonarch's basically one-shot and shields. It will one-shot a shield. The poison damage is counted as barrier, just like it was as overload. It's basically the best bow in the game. Taiku's, I haven't tried that on barrier. That'll obviously be really good as well. Trinity Ghoul will be also really good. But obviously that's for another video. You notice I left the Ultra up. The Ultra Cabal you don't need. You don't need to clear out all the ads. This is based on you getting the 100k Pinnacle reward as well. Because you're gonna want to get that because that's a Pinnacle. So this is based on getting Platinum rank and the 100k. As soon as we get the dunk, we're going to spawn kill a lot of these ads with our nade. The quicker you do that, the better it is. You'll then get an unstoppable champ to spawn with the orange bar. Try and take out the orange bar as quickly as possible. Isolate enemies, and then it's just you and the unstoppable. We'll debuff first, then Nova, and that just about kills the champ. You gotta finish your kill, and then we're off to the next section. I will use plenty of supers just because of Font of Wisdom. That's why I've got it on. So I have the freedom to sort of use supers when I kind of want. There is times when I will save them though for certain occasions, but for the most part I'm just basically using it when I get it and focusing it on champs. So that way, what that's doing is it's saving on rocket ammo for later, right? Because if we go later on to the double tank room and we got max heavy or close to, we're in a good spot. If we're going there with no rockets, you're not in a good place. The Monarch will deal with pretty much everything in this strike, anyways. But you want that burst damage at times. So this area there is arc shields and there is fallen and there's a lot of cabal. There's snipers. There's freshers. On master for 100k Pinnacle, you don't need any of this. It's a skip. It's all a skip apart from the champ. Obviously you need the champ from platinum. So we use the old 2017 strat. We come to this box. We wait for the champ to de-aggro a little bit. He didn't turn around, which is unfortunate. Means he will try to blind us, but that's fine. Lead with a grenade first, and then we can just Monarch him down. I'm not going to use rockets. I just want to see if I end up getting a pack off him, which I might do. Keep using Monarch, check if there's any ammo. There is. He spawned a well, of course, because I killed him with Monarch, so we'll pick up those two. And then we're on to the double tank room. There's going to be a lot of void shields in this, which is another reason why we're using Monarch, because you can just deal with that really easy. And it can deal with unmatched shields. The thing with Monarch is you don't have to match burns in Nightfalls now. Especially with the oppressive darkness debuff. Like if you stick a grenade on a target and then use a bit of Monarch with its poison damage, you'll take that match game shield down in pretty much no time. So it's not, if you are, as I say, going to use, like if you're on Voidwalker, you don't need to be matching the shields like we used to as much. Be careful this tank because they will one-shot you, especially if you're low light. A direct hit will definitely. So you've got to keep your wits about you. These ads will push him, but once the tank gets low in HP, some of the ads will de-aggro. You kind of want that to happen, because then you can push in the room safer. You know, debuff the tank, use a rocket or two, and that's it. That's the tank. You don't want to be spending any more than 2 rockets on the tank. Then we come up to this station here and take out the remainder of the ads. Try and get the ads as quickly as possible because they will de-aggro behind the champ. That's what they're designed to do. When they're in less numbers, the ads will then hide behind the anti-barriers. There's 2 double anti-barriers right up top. So you can't... The thing with this is you don't want to be pushing those barriers until the room is safe, because it's hard enough obviously with double barrier. So you want it just where all ads are down, including this unstoppable I'm dealing with right now. But there's a way of aggro on those miners to push you down here, because there's some standing up there, I know for a fact, just because of the numbers of the cabal. I know that there's some up there still. So we'll clear this unstoppable at least. You want to get this switch to your right. It's critical that you do that. Missing this switch, if you get the far side switch and not this one, that means the tank's going to spawn in when you're here. Big deal. Don't do that. You will mess it up. You'll mess up anything will be out of sequence, and you'll have to deal with things a little different, which is something you don't want to do. You want to optimize taking down the next tank quickly, and the only way you can really do that is, as I say, up the other side. So we aggroed the remaining ads just by pushing up, and they jumped it all down. Just jumping up to see if there's any more. Now, how do you deal with these double barriers? They can be a nightmare, of course. A good way of dealing with them is just using an area where they can't really shoot you, so it's directly below you. They won't stomp you unless you stand on the same platform that they're on, but they won't stomp you from here, which is good. So we're baiting at least one of the unstoppables, barriers. I'm saving a super for this. I would recommend that you do that. We'll leave with the grenade, and then we need to get a good angle on this barrier. Break the shield, Nova Bomb. The Nova might spread to the second barrier, it just depends. But just focus on the one that you've done the main amount of damage to. When you get down to one barrier, it's easy. It's easy at that point. That's why you save a super for that critical moment, so that you do make it easy. Again, we'll charge another nade. Just keep the monarching him. We'll save rockets at this point because there's loads of unstoppables to come up. There's at least 3 unstoppables that you need to take out. A tank, a couple of phalanxes, and then a Cabal Ultra. So you've got a lot of stuff to do yet. So don't be always spamming rockets. You spam it when you really need them. So we'll charge a nade first. That's key, of course. And then try and rocket the tank. 1 or 2 rockets. Gets the tank weak. I'm trying to do it while the debuff's still going on. 2 rockets, 1 nade. Basically killed that tank, and I'm underpowered. So just goes to show. Now we'll do a healing rift. Get some grenade energy back. So I've got bomber on. Now there's 3 unstoppables pushing, so it's kind of difficult to sort of. I tried to rocket the champ. I guess I did get a bit of damage on him, but not as much as I would have liked, because the 2 other unstoppables that weren't stopped tanked some of that damage. So what you want to try and do is bait some of them over to this back side of the map. Don't fight up top. Whatever you do, don't fight up there. It's too dangerous if you're underpowered. If you have power, you'll be able to melt these. But I don't see many people at 1580 right now. I don't believe there is. There's somebody 15 highs, 1570s. Content Destiny tracker, but there's no one officially 1580 that I'm aware of. But once you get to them high 1570s, you're melting in master content anyways, because your power increase is steep. Closer you get that 1580 mark, the higher your damage goes up massively. So that's why you want to be, farming your XP. When all your pinnacles are done, all your characters, you want to be farming that XP. Just remember, you've got Master Vogue at 1590, you've got Grasp of Avarice. If you want to farm that this season, you need to be at least useful. It's 1590, so you're going to be wanting to farm some XP. I'm not saying go over the top, but there's still a bit to go for that. So now we're getting the remainder unstoppables. There's 1 left. This was the initial one I stopped. I'll use a rocket here because we've got some rockets on the floor. The thing with cluster bomb is, I realise I'm not using the best rocket I could, but sometimes I use stuff just to see how it is from time to time. And clusters is good when all the clusters hit, just they don't always, and that's the thing about it. So a Vorpal rocket's really good, lasting impression is really good, frenzy rockets are good. I've got a lot of frenzy rockets, they're good. Lasting impression isn't that good on champs, just in general. It's not good on unstoppables. You need to be right on the mark. As soon as you stop that champ, you need to do your rocket, or hit them with a rocket, then stop them. The key is that you get that blast, that detonation, to do that damage while that champ's stopped. But as I said, Last Impression isn't a favourite of mine. Not for Nightfalls. Raids, yeah, it is. Nightfalls, not so much. So, but as I said, as long as you're matching a solar rocket, one that you like, Ascendancy would have been good with Explosive Light. I was thinking about doing that. but I haven't infused it, so I didn't end up going that route. But Ascendancy with Explosive Light, I would rather have Explosive Light, to be honest, over the Lasting Impression. So the room before the final boss, well, we say that, you're going to see how I'll do it. I'm going to use a technique that's very old. It's years old, this, but obviously because of my experience from the past, I tested this week straight away because New Arms Day was up, just to see. This strat I'm going to do is only applicable to Master. It will not be used in Grandmaster. So before you say you can't use this in Grandmaster, I know you can't. I obviously know that. So don't comment that, because I'm already telling you right now, you can't use it in GM. But here's the thing, Grandmasters aren't out till April, so I'm not concerned about that. So we're looking to kill all these phalanxes that are below us. This bit can be proven difficult because Attrition is on, so if you haven't got Devour procced and you haven't got a Healing Rift, if you get naded while you're dealing with a barrier, that can be dangerous because solar damage is 50%. The solar grenade is from the Cabal, does a lot of damage to you. So you really need to plan which barrier you're going for. So what I can do is bait a champ down here where I'm looking. This will then stop both barriers from looking at you at once. It'll only have one barrier look at you. Take out the turrets first because they do solar damage to you from here. And then wait for the barrier to walk over. They will. It's their instinct to do that. If you're in a team, that won't happen because the champion might be aggroed to a guy on your left, a guy in mid. It won't happen like that. But solo play, you can control things a bit better. So I'm controlling this champion. He's going to want to see where I am. And I can use a rocket, debuff. The second barrier is pushing now. He's going to go to the same place where I want him to, which is good. So we'll do that. But if you're weak and a solar nade hits close to your feet, you need to disengage, even if it means the barrier is going to regen. Just disengage because you'll die, right? And you don't want to be dying. I mean, it isn't a big problem because you've got checkpoints. In the Master Nightfall, you get checkpoints. In Grandmaster Nightfall, you don't. But we can take advantage of that and exploit the boss. But this is just for folk to know about it, so you can literally just farm it. It's an easy farming technique. You can do this in a team. You can, but you just need to follow the steps. So clear the room. The room needs to be cleared. Do not activate the switch. If you activate the switch, it won't work right. Then you need to climb the chain of the elevator. Climb the chain until there's a little object right at the top. That little bit of metal or whatever it is, go right to there, right to the top. Once you've done that, jump all the way down. Be careful not to die, of course. You don't want to do that. And what you want to do now is activate the switch. You will then get the 4 Cabal spawning. Just kill them with, don't waste rockets on this. Just kill them with your grenade. Charge your grenade up. Clear out all the Cabal. You will then be greeted with the boss prematurely because the boss spawns it. That's how we spawn the boss in soon. Then we're going to rocket ourselves. That's not by accident, that's on purpose. You have to kill yourself to do what I'm doing. This will then allow you to kill the boss from this floor. This will also guarantee you platinum rank. The 100K Pinnacle will work. You will not bug out platinum rank because of this. This is only exclusive to Adept, Hero, Legend and Master. You can't do this in Grandmaster. I repeat, you can't do this in Grandmaster. But Grandmasters aren't up till April, so forget about that. Right now we're doing Master. So what you can do is Nova the boss. As long as you got Cataclysm Nova on, obviously you don't want the other Nova. The other Nova really has no place. You want to be using this. This one tracks. You can actually track the boss all the way from here. So this is where you want to do damage from. It's the best place in the room to do that because you can easy Nova him. We're going to farm supers off this boss. Because of how intellect works now, you gain intellect from damage to an enemy. So look at my super bar. It'll go up really quick. The only problem is with this, it's not that much of a problem. I can't activate my nade on the boss. The boss is far too far away to get a shot on that. It would be impossible to sort of get a grenade on him from here. Even with fastball, you wouldn't be able to do it. So we're just going to focus Monarch damage and rockets. Just be careful. Obviously, I mean, I don't know what light level he'll one-shot you at, but at my power 1570, he gets me red, which I have got solar resist on. Just only one. It's just one solar resist. So if you do find he's one-shotting you, get 2 of those mods on. Forget about the reserves, like me. Get 2 solar resists on, and you know, you're less likely to die. What will be buffing this boss is the modifier Poleharm, or whatever it's called. The enemies do more damage to you the further you are away from them. So this boss is buffed by that. Not only that, he's a sniper, and it's solar, so he's buffed by a couple of things. So you've got to strafe in and out. Just do your Monarch, strafe in and out like this. Just make sure he doesn't hit you. Like if you think he might one-shot you because you're 1565 or whatever it might be, just don't risk that. Don't risk it. But we're just going to keep farming super off him. You're going to find it very difficult to get a critical hit on him. The reason being is because his headbox is different because you are looking right up at him. So his critical hits that far up, it's very difficult to get a crit on him. I don't care who you are and how accurate you are, you can't get a crit on him. It's so difficult just because he's looking down on you like that. His head's so far back, it's difficult to do it. Not only that, he keeps moving around. He'll move back and forth, back and forth. That's because I keep strafing in and out of cover, and the boss doesn't really know what to do. We'll get another Nova Bomb on him. The important thing is with the Nova, let the Nova do the work. Don't shoot the boss while the Nova's going there, because you will early detonate the Nova, and you won't get the damage off it. It's not a big deal if that happens, because obviously you can sit here all day as long as you want. I mean, not as long as you want, because you will start to lose score at, I'm not sure what time it is, 25 minutes? I don't know if it's 25 minutes you lose time on Master, I can't remember. I don't know if they've changed that. But obviously we've got 135k, so we're well over 100k for this. So we're just going to keep doing our Monarch damage in and out. It just makes it simple. As I said, you can do it in a team like this. Same thing, just all 3 you need to die. The keys though, you climb the elevator to spawn in that boss soon. That will then make this occur. But that was the Solo Master Nightfall on this, getting Platinum rank with the 100k Pinnacle reward. Hope you enjoy, thank you.
Target eliminated. Great work.